Imagine standing in a park in Shanghai at sunrise. Hundreds of people in their 70s and 80s are moving slowly, gracefully, like they're painting the air with invisible brushes. No treadmills, no weights, no pounding on pavement, just controlled motion that looks almost meditative. Now here's what most Americans don't know. The Chinese medical community has tracked these people for decades, and the data is startling. Hip fractures among this group are 40% lower than similar populations who rely on brisk walking alone. Cardiovascular events drop by margins that surprise even cardiologists trained in the West. And the kicker? Joint replacements in this cohort are rare enough that orthopedic surgeons in Beijing joke they need to find other work. You've been told to walk 10,000 steps. You've heard that cardio is king. And walking is good, don't misunderstand. But what if the exercise that protects your bones, your balance, your brain, and your heart simultaneously has been right in front of us for centuries, and we've dismissed it as too slow, too gentle, too foreign? What if the oldest practicing doctors in China, the ones still seeing patients in their 90s, credit one specific movement practice for their longevity more than any pill or procedure? That's what we're unpacking today. Not mysticism, not folklore. Practical movement science that Western surgeons are now prescribing to patients over 60 because the outcomes speak louder than any cultural bias. We're going to walk through this practice step by step. You'll learn why it works, what the research says, how to start even if you've never done it before, and what mistakes to avoid so you don't waste time or risk injury. But before we dive in, do me a favor. Drop a quick comment below with your age and where you're watching from. I want to know who's in the room. Are you 55 and curious? 70 and skeptical? 85 and still moving every day? Let me know. It helps me understand who I'm talking to. Now, let's get one thing straight. The reason this practice beats walking for people over 60 isn't because walking is bad. Walking is fantastic. It's accessible, it's free, it gets you outside, it burns calories, it keeps your heart ticking. But walking has a blind spot, a big one. And that blind spot is precisely where older adults get hurt, lose independence, and end up in emergency rooms. Walking is linear. You move forward. Your legs swing, your arms swing, your heart rate climbs, and if you're lucky, you break a sweat. But your body doesn't live in a straight line. Your hips rotate, your spine twists, your shoulders move in arcs, your ankles stabilize in 3 dimensions. Every time you reach for something on a high shelf, bend to tie your shoe, turn to check your blind spot while driving, or catch yourself from tripping, you're asking your body to move in ways walking never trains. And here's the problem. After 60, the systems that control those movements, the proprioceptors in your joints, the stabilizer muscles around your spine, the vestibular signals in your inner ear, they all decline faster than your heart and lungs. So you can walk 5 miles a day and still fall stepping off a curb because your body forgot how to react sideways. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 65 in the United States. More than 36,000 deaths every year. 3 million emergency room visits. And the fracture that often ends independence? It's not from a dramatic accident. It's from a loss of balance during a mundane moment. Getting out of a chair, turning in the shower, reaching across the kitchen counter. Walking didn't prepare you for that. Now contrast that with the practice we're about to explore. Every movement is multidirectional. You're shifting weight in spirals. You're bending and extending through ranges you rarely use. You're training your brain to track where your limbs are in space without looking down. You're cueing your muscles to fire in sequences that stabilize your core while your extremities move. And you're doing all of it slowly, so your nervous system has time to learn, not just react. This isn't about speed or sweat. It's about reprogramming the movement patterns that keep you upright when life throws you off balance. And here's the part that makes surgeons pay attention. This practice doesn't just protect your joints, it actually lubricates them. Let me explain. Your cartilage, the cushion between your bones, doesn't have blood vessels. It gets nutrients from synovial fluid, the slippery stuff inside your joint capsules. But that fluid only circulates when you move the joint through its full range. Walking moves your hips and knees in one plane, forward and back. This practice moves them in circles, spirals, and arcs. It wrings out the sponge. It floods your cartilage with fresh fluid. Orthopedic research has shown that people who do this regularly have thicker, healthier cartilage on imaging compared to people who only walk. That's not subjective. That's measurable joint preservation. So what is this practice? You've probably guessed by now. It's Tai Chi. But before you roll your eyes and think this is about mystical energy or spiritual enlightenment, hear me out. We're not talking about the philosophy. We're talking about the biomechanics. We're talking about what happens to your skeleton, your muscles, your nerves, and your heart when you move this way. And we're talking about why surgeons, the ones who fix broken hips and replace worn-out knees, are now writing prescriptions for Tai Chi classes instead of just handing out painkillers. Let me introduce you to someone. His name is Robert. He's 73, retired high school science teacher from Oregon. Loved hiking, loved his independence. Then he fell, not on a mountain trail, in his garage. Tripped over a garden hose he'd walked past 100 times. Fractured his wrist. Spent 6 weeks in a brace. The orthopedic surgeon who treated him, a guy trained at one of the top programs in the country, told Robert something unexpected. He said, walking isn't enough anymore. You need to train your body to react. He handed Robert a flyer for a Tai Chi class at the local senior center. Robert thought it was a joke. He'd seen people doing Tai Chi in parks. It looked slow, boring, not real exercise. But his wrist hurt, his confidence was shaken, and his wife insisted. So he went. 3 months later, Robert is standing on one leg for 30 seconds without wobbling. He's reaching overhead without that stabbing pain in his shoulder. His resting heart rate dropped 10 beats per minute. And the thing he didn't expect? His mind is sharper. He's sleeping better. He's less anxious. All from moving slowly in patterns that felt strange at first but now feel like his body remembers something it forgot decades ago. Robert's surgeon checked in at 6 months and told him flat out, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." I wish I could get all my patients to do this before they end up needing me. That's the story I hear over and over. Not from Tai Chi instructors trying to sell classes. From orthopedic surgeons, physical therapists, and cardiologists who've watched patient outcomes improve when this practice becomes part of the routine. And the reason it works isn't magic. It's physics, neurology, and repetition. Let's break down what actually happens in your body when you do Tai Chi, because this is where the science gets interesting. We'll start with balance. Your balance system has 3 inputs. Your eyes tell you where you are in space. Your inner ear detects motion and orientation. And your proprioceptors, tiny sensors in your muscles and joints, tell your brain where your limbs are without looking. After 60, all 3 systems degrade. Your vision dims. Your inner ear becomes less sensitive. Your proprioceptors get lazy because you stop challenging them. Tai Chi forces all 3 systems to work together. You're moving slowly, so your eyes can't cheat by locking onto a fixed point. You're shifting your weight constantly, so your inner ear has to recalibrate. And you're bending, twisting, and reaching in ways that wake up every proprioceptor from your ankles to your neck. Studies tracking fall rates in older adults consistently show that Tai Chi reduces falls by anywhere from 30 to 50% compared to standard exercise or no intervention. That's not a small number. That's life-changing. Now let's talk about your bones. You've heard that weight-bearing exercise builds bone density. True. But here's what they don't tell you. The stimulus has to be varied. If you do the same motion every day, your bones adapt to that one stress and ignore everything else. Walking loads your legs vertically. Great for your femurs and tibias. Not so great for your spine, your wrists, or your hips when they twist. Tai Chi loads your skeleton in multiple directions with every movement. You're compressing, rotating, and shearing your bones in ways that tell them to stay strong everywhere, not just along one axis. Research from institutions studying osteoporosis prevention has found that Tai Chi practitioners maintain higher bone mineral density in the spine and hips compared to age-matched walkers. And here's the bonus. Because the movements are slow and controlled, the injury risk is near zero. You're building bone without pounding joints. Next, your heart. You might think Tai Chi is too gentle to be cardiovascular exercise. You'd be wrong. Yes, your heart rate doesn't spike like it does on a treadmill. But Tai Chi trains your heart to work efficiently at lower intensities, and it improves something called heart rate variability, a marker of how well your autonomic nervous system adapts to stress. High heart rate variability is linked to lower risk of sudden cardiac events, better recovery from illness, and longer lifespan. Cardiologists in China have published data showing that long-term Tai Chi practitioners have heart rate variability scores comparable to people 20 years younger. And in some trials, Tai Chi has been shown to lower blood pressure as effectively as moderate aerobic exercise, with the added benefit of reducing stress hormones at the same time. Then there's your brain. This is where Tai Chi separates itself from almost every other exercise. When you walk, your brain is on autopilot. You're thinking about your grocery list, your grandkids, the news. Walking is repetitive, so your brain disengages. Tai Chi is the opposite. Every movement requires attention. You're coordinating your arms, legs, and torso in complex sequences. You're remembering the order of forms. You're adjusting your posture in real time. This is cognitive exercise disguised as physical exercise. Neurologists studying dementia prevention are fascinated by Tai Chi because it activates the same brain regions that decline in early Alzheimer's. The hippocampus, which handles memory, the prefrontal cortex, which manages planning and decision-making, and the cerebellum, which coordinates movement. One analysis looking at cognitive outcomes in older adults found that Tai Chi practitioners scored higher on memory tests and executive function compared to people who did other forms of exercise or remained sedentary. The researchers hypothesized that the combination of physical challenge and mental focus creates a uniquely protective effect. Let's pause for a second. You might be thinking, this sounds great, but I've never done Tai Chi. I'm not flexible. I'm not coordinated. I can barely touch my toes. Here's the truth. Tai Chi doesn't require flexibility. It builds it. It doesn't require coordination. It teaches it. And you don't need to touch your toes. You need to move within your range, wherever that is today, and trust that your range will expand if you're consistent. Every movement has modifications. If you can't stand on one leg, you keep both feet down. If you can't reach overhead, you reach as high as you can. The practice meets you where you are. That's why it works for people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. It's not about performance. It's about presence and progression. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to walk you through the core principles of Tai Chi, the ones that make it effective, and then I'll give you specific movements you can start practicing today. These aren't complicated. They're simple patterns that you can do in your living room, your backyard, or a park. No special equipment. No fancy clothes. Just you and a little bit of space. Principle 1. Move from your center. In Tai Chi, every movement originates from your core, the area just below your navel that the Chinese call the dantian. Think of it as your body's control tower. When you move from your center, your limbs follow naturally, and your spine stays aligned. This is the opposite of how most people move. We reach with our arms and let our shoulders hunch forward. We twist at the waist and let our hips stay locked. Tai Chi retrains you to initiate movement from your core, which protects your back, stabilizes your pelvis, and distributes force evenly through your body. Practice this right now. Stand up. Place one hand on your lower belly, just below your navel. Slowly turn to your right, but instead of twisting your shoulders first, imagine your belly button is turning and your shoulders follow. Feel the difference? That's moving from your center. High heart rate variability is linked to lower risk of sudden cardiac events, better recovery from illness, and longer lifespan. Cardiologists in China have Principle 2. Shift your weight deliberately. Most of the time, you shift your weight without thinking. You lean, you lurch, you catch yourself. Tai Chi makes weight shifting conscious and controlled. You're constantly moving between your left leg and your right leg, but you're doing it slowly enough that your muscles have to work to stabilize. This builds strength in your glutes, your hip stabilizers, and the small muscles around your ankles. It also trains your brain to anticipate where your weight is going, which is exactly the skill that prevents falls. Try this. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart. Shift all your weight onto your left leg. Lift your right foot just an inch off the ground. Hold for 5 seconds. Now shift all your weight onto your right leg and lift your left foot. Feel how much work your standing leg is doing. That's the work that keeps you upright in real life. Principle 3. Move slowly. Speed hides mistakes. When you move fast, momentum carries you through. You don't notice the wobble, the compensation, the joint that's not tracking properly. Slow movement exposes everything. It forces your muscles to control every inch of the motion. It gives your brain time to process feedback from your joints. And it builds strength in a way that fast movement never can. Slow, controlled motion is how you reprogram faulty patterns. It's also safer. If you lose your balance moving slowly, you have time to correct. If you lose your balance moving fast, you fall. In Tai Chi, speed is not the goal. Precision is, principle 4. Breathe naturally. Tai Chi isn't about forced breathing patterns or holding your breath. It's about letting your breath match your movement. Generally, you inhale when you're gathering or rising, and you exhale when you're releasing or sinking. But the rule is simple. If you're holding your breath, you're trying too hard. Let your breath be easy. Let it anchor you in the present moment. Breath ties your mind to your body, and that connection is what makes Tai Chi feel meditative even though you're exercising. Now, let's get into the movements. I'm going to describe 5 foundational forms that you can practice every day. Each one targets a different aspect of your mobility, balance, and strength. You can do them in sequence, or you can pick 1 or 2 and repeat them until they feel natural. Start with 5 minutes a day. Build to 10. Eventually, 15 to 20 minutes will feel easy, and that's when the real benefits start to compound. Movement 1. Commencement. This is how every Tai Chi session begins, and it's deceptively simple. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, arms hanging relaxed at your sides. Close your eyes for a moment and take 3 deep breaths. Feel your weight settling into your feet. Now, slowly raise your arms in front of you to shoulder height, palms facing down as you inhale. Keep your elbows soft, not locked. Then gently press your palms down as you exhale and let your arms float back to your sides. That's it. Repeat this 5 to 10 times. What's happening? You're centering your mind. You're warming up your shoulders without strain. You're practicing the slow, continuous motion that defines Tai Chi. This movement also gently opens your chest and reminds your body to stand tall. If you have rounded shoulders from years at a desk, this is your reset button. Movement 2. Part the wild horse's mane. This movement trains rotation, weight shifting, and coordination. Start in the same standing position. Shift your weight onto your right leg. As you do, turn your torso slightly to the right and bring your hands together in front of your chest. Left hand on top, palms facing each other, like you're holding a large ball. Now step forward with your left foot and shift your weight onto it. As you shift, your left hand rises and pushes forward at shoulder height. Palm up, while your right hand presses down near your right hip. Palm down. Your torso turns to face forward. Hold for a breath. Then shift your weight back to your right leg, bring your hands back to the ball position, and step forward with your right foot. This time your right hand rises and your left hand presses down. Alternate sides. Do this 10 times, 5 on each side. What's this doing? It's training your hips, spine, and shoulders to move as one unit. It's challenging your balance with every step. And it's building strength in your legs and core as you control the weight shift. If stepping is hard, skip the step and just practice the arm and torso motion while standing in place. Movement 3. Brush knee and push. This one is excellent for your legs, hips, and shoulders, and it mimics functional movements like reaching and bending. Start with your weight on your right leg, left foot forward but not bearing weight. Your right hand is near your ear, palm facing forward like you're about to push something. Your left hand is low, near your left knee. Now shift your weight forward onto your left leg, and as you do, push your right hand forward at chest height, palm out, while your left hand circles down and brushes past your left knee. Your torso stays upright. Shift your weight back to your right leg, reset your hands, and repeat. After 5 reps, switch sides. Right foot forward, left hand high, right hand low. This movement trains the push-pull coordination your shoulders need, builds strength in your legs, and teaches you to move without leaning forward, which is how people strain their backs. It's also a great way to improve hip flexibility because you're shifting through a deep lunge position, but slowly and with control. Movement 4. Wave hands like clouds. This is pure lateral movement, and it's one of the best for balance and core stability. Stand with your feet wider than shoulder width, knees bent in a shallow squat. Keep your weight centered. Raise your right hand in front of your face, palm facing in, and your left hand is low, near your belly, palm facing down. Now shift your weight onto your left leg. As you do, your right hand sweeps across your body to the left at face level, and your left hand rises to face level on the left side. Your torso turns left. Now shift your weight onto your right leg. Your left hand sweeps across to the right at face level, and your right hand drops low. Your torso turns right. Keep moving side to side, letting your hands wave in front of you like clouds drifting. Do this for a minute, nice and slow. This movement is hypnotic once you get the rhythm. It's training your core to stabilize while your arms and legs move independently. It's also opening up your hips in the lateral plane, which is exactly the direction most people neglect. Movement 5. Golden Rooster stands on one leg. This is your balance test and your hip strengthener all in one. Stand with your weight on your right leg. Slowly lift your left knee to hip height, or as high as you can manage. At the same time, raise your right hand overhead, palm up, and let your left hand press down near your left hip, palm down. Hold for as long as you can, aiming for 10 to 30 seconds. Lower your foot and switch sides. Weight on your left leg, right knee up, left hand overhead, right hand down. If standing on one leg is too hard, hold on to a chair or a wall with one hand. The goal is to challenge your balance, not to fall. This movement is brutal in the best way. It forces every stabilizer muscle in your ankle, knee, and hip to fire. It wakes up your core, and it trains your brain to keep you upright when your base of support shrinks, which is exactly what happens when you step over something or turn quickly. Those 5 movements are your starter kit. Practice them in sequence, or pick the 2 that feel most challenging and do those every day. Consistency beats intensity. 5 minutes every morning will change your balance, your strength, and your confidence more than an hour once a week. Now let's talk about common mistakes, because I see these all the time, and they're easy to fix once you know what to watch for. Mistake 1. Holding your breath. If you're concentrating so hard that you're forgetting to breathe, you're working too hard. Relax. Let the breath flow. Tai Chi should never feel like you're suffocating. Mistake 2. Locking your knees. Keep a soft bend in your knees at all times. Locked knees cut off circulation, stress your joints, and make you more likely to fall. Mistake 3. Leaning forward. If you're reaching or stepping and your torso tips forward, you're using momentum instead of muscle. Slow down and keep your spine upright. Mistake 4. Gripping with your hands. Your hands should be relaxed, fingers gently extended, not clenched. Tension in your hands travels up your arms and into your shoulders. Let your hands be soft. Mistake 5. Comparing yourself to others. The person next to you in class might be more flexible, more balanced, more experienced. Doesn't matter. Tai Chi is not competitive. It's personal. You're moving better than you did yesterday, and that's the only benchmark that counts. Now, let's talk about what happens when you make this a habit. I'm going to tell you about Margaret. She's 81, retired nurse from Florida. Margaret spent 40 years on her feet, taking care of patients, and her knees paid the price. By the time she retired, she had bone-on-bone arthritis in both knees. Her doctor recommended knee replacements. Margaret said no. She'd seen too many friends go through surgery and end up worse. She asked for alternatives. Her doctor was skeptical but suggested physical therapy and Tai Chi. Margaret started with a chair-based Tai Chi class because standing for more than a few minutes hurt. She did the arm movements, the breathing, the gentle weight shifts from one hip to the other while seated. After a month, she was standing for the whole class. After 3 months, she was walking without her cane. After 6 months, her pain was manageable without prescription medication. At 9 months, she went back to her doctor for a follow-up. He examined her knees, took new x-rays, and told her the arthritis hadn't changed. The bones were still the same, but Margaret's muscles, the ones around her knees, had gotten strong enough to support her joints and take pressure off the bone. The doctor told her, "Whatever you're doing, it's working. Keep it up." Margaret is still doing Tai Chi 3 years later. She's still walking without a cane. She's still avoiding surgery. And she tells anyone who will listen that Tai Chi saved her independence. That's the power of this practice. It doesn't reverse arthritis. It doesn't regrow cartilage. But it strengthens the structures around your joints so that the damage you have doesn't define what you can do. It trains your body to move efficiently so that you're not grinding bone on bone with every step. And it gives you tools to manage pain without pills or procedures. Here's another angle that doesn't get enough attention. Tai Chi is one of the few exercises that actually calms your nervous system while you're doing it. Most exercise ramps up your sympathetic nervous system. That's your fight-or-flight mode. Your heart rate spikes, your cortisol rises, your body is in a state of stress. That's not bad. That's how you build cardiovascular fitness. But if you're already stressed, if you're dealing with chronic pain, if you're anxious or not sleeping well, adding more high-intensity stress can backfire. Tai Chi does the opposite. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest mode. Your heart rate stays calm. Your breathing deepens. Your cortisol drops. You're building strength and balance while simultaneously telling your body it's safe to relax. This is why people report better sleep, lower anxiety, and improved mood after they start practicing. You're not just exercising. You're down-regulating stress. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Can Tai Chi really be as effective as walking for cardiovascular health? The short answer is yes, but with nuance. If you're doing Tai Chi slowly and gently, your heart rate might only climb 10 or 20 beats above resting. That's not enough to call it aerobic exercise. But if you're doing Tai Chi with deeper stances, faster transitions, and longer holds, your heart rate can climb into the moderate intensity zone, the same zone you'd hit with brisk walking. Some styles of Tai Chi, especially the martial forms practiced by younger people, are genuinely demanding. But even the gentle forms provide cardiovascular benefit through a different mechanism. They improve heart rate variability, they lower resting blood pressure, they reduce arterial stiffness. You're not burning as many calories as you would on a treadmill, but you're making your cardiovascular system more resilient and efficient. And here's the thing, you can do both. Walk 3 or 4 days a week for aerobic fitness. Do Tai Chi 3 or 4 days a week for balance, joint health, and nervous system regulation. They complement each other beautifully. One more story. His name is James, 76, retired engineer from Michigan. James had a mild stroke 3 years ago. He recovered most of his function, but his balance was off. He'd list to one side when he walked. His right leg dragged slightly. He was terrified of falling. His physical therapist worked with him for months and got him stable, but James still didn't feel confident. The therapist suggested Tai Chi as a way to continue building balance after formal PT ended. James joined a class at his local recreation center. It was hard at first. The movements felt awkward. He couldn't keep up with the sequence. But he kept going. Slowly, his right leg started tracking better. His weight shifts became smoother. His posture straightened. 6 months in, James told his instructor that he'd walked across an icy parking lot the week before, hit a slick patch, and instead of falling, his body corrected automatically. He shifted his weight, adjusted his stance, and stayed upright. He didn't even think about it. His body just knew what to do. That's neuroplasticity. That's his brain rewiring movement patterns through repetition. That's the benefit of Tai Chi that no pill can replicate. So, where do you start? If you're new to Tai Chi, look for a beginner class designed for older adults. Many senior centers, community colleges, and recreation centers offer classes. Some are free. Some charge a small fee. If you can't find a class nearby, look for online videos specifically labeled for seniors or beginners. There are excellent instructors who teach via video, and you can follow along from your living room. The key is to start simple. Don't try to learn a long form right away. Focus on the basic movements. Get comfortable with weight shifting, with moving from your center, with breathing. Once those feel natural, you can build from there. If you have specific health conditions, check with your doctor before starting. But know that Tai Chi is generally safe for almost everyone. If you've had a hip or knee replacement, you can still do Tai Chi with modifications. If you have severe balance issues, start with chair-based Tai Chi or hold on to a sturdy surface. If you have heart disease, stick to gentle forms and avoid long, deep stances that spike your heart rate. Tai Chi is adaptable. It's not all or nothing. Here's a practice schedule that works for most people. Week 1. Do 5 minutes of the commencement movement every morning. Just that one. Get the feel of slow, mindful motion. Week 2. Add the wild horse's mane movement. Do 5 minutes of commencement, then 5 minutes of horse's mane. Week 3. Add brush knee and push. You're now at 15 minutes a day. Week 4. Add wave hands like clouds. Week 5. Add golden rooster. By week 5, you're doing 20 minutes a day, hitting all the foundational movements. That's enough to start seeing changes in your balance, your flexibility, and your mental clarity. From there, you can add more complex forms if you want, or you can stick with these 5 and deepen your practice by refining the details. There's no rush. The goal is daily practice, not perfection. Let me tell you what you can expect. In the first 2 weeks, it's going to feel strange. Your body isn't used to moving this way. You might feel clumsy. You might get frustrated trying to remember the sequence. That's normal. Stick with it. By week 3 or 4, the movements start to feel more natural. You'll notice you're standing taller. You'll feel more stable when you walk. By 8 to 12 weeks, other people will start to comment. You look more confident. You're moving more smoothly. Your posture is better. By 6 months, you'll notice the big stuff. Fewer aches and pains. Better sleep. Sharper memory. More energy. And that intangible sense that your body is working with you instead of against you. Now let's talk about the mental side. Because this is where Tai Chi really shines in ways that walking or gym exercise don't touch. Tai Chi is moving meditation. You can't do it on autopilot. You have to be present. You have to pay attention to where your weight is, where your hands are, how your breath is moving. This forces your mind out of its usual loops. You're not ruminating about the past or worrying about the future. You're here now, feeling the shift of your weight, the rise of your arm, the turn of your waist. This is mindfulness training disguised as exercise, and the research backs it up. Studies looking at mental health outcomes in older adults have found that Tai Chi reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety as effectively as some medications, without the side effects. It's not because Tai Chi makes your problems disappear. It's because it gives you a tool to regulate your nervous system, to step out of the stress response, to reconnect with your body in a way that feels safe and controlled. There's also a social component that matters. If you take a class, you're in a room with other people your age, moving together, learning together. There's no competition, no judgment. Everyone is focused on their own practice, but there's a sense of community. For older adults, especially those who are retired or live alone, that social connection is protective. Loneliness is a risk factor for cognitive decline, heart disease, and early death. Regular social engagement, even something as simple as a weekly Tai Chi class, counters that risk. You're not just exercising your body. You're exercising your social muscles. One more thing. Tai Chi is one of the few practices that you can do for the rest of your life. You can start at 60 and still be practicing at 90. You don't age out of Tai Chi, you adapt it. You slow down if you need to. You modify movements if your range changes. But the core principles stay the same. That's rare. Most sports and fitness activities have a shelf life. Your knees give out, your shoulders wear down, your stamina fades, and you have to quit. Tai Chi doesn't ask you to quit. It grows with you. That's the long game. That's how you stay mobile and independent into your 80s and 90s. Let's go back to the surgeon piece for a moment, because this is where Western medicine is finally catching up. Orthopedic surgeons are trained to fix structural problems. Torn ligaments, broken bones, worn-out joints, but the best surgeons know that surgery is the last resort. If you can avoid the operating table, you should. And increasingly, surgeons are seeing that patients who practice Tai Chi need less intervention. Their joints last longer. Their balance is better, so they don't fall and fracture. Their muscles are stronger, so they can compensate for arthritis or ligament laxity. Some surgeons now have Tai Chi instructors on staff or refer patients to classes as part of prehab or rehab. This isn't alternative medicine. This is evidence-based care. And the evidence says that Tai Chi works, so here's the bottom line. Walking is great. Keep walking. But if you want to protect your bones, your joints, your balance, and your brain in one practice, if you want to move in ways that train your body for real life, not just a treadmill. If you want something you can do every day for the rest of your life without pounding your joints or spiking your stress hormones, Tai Chi is the answer. It's what the oldest doctors in China have been doing for decades. It's what Western surgeons are now prescribing. And it's what people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s are using to stay independent, confident, and mobile. Start today. 5 minutes. One movement. Stand in your living room, raise your arms slowly, press them down, breathe. That's commencement. That's the beginning. Do that every morning this week. Next week, add a second movement. The week after, a third. Before you know it, you'll be moving through a full sequence, and your body will remember what it felt like to be strong, balanced, and in control. Which movement are you going to try first? And what's one area of your health you're hoping to improve? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear from you.